Hi, this is Political News in 5 and today is March 12th, 2023. I'm starting with how to rig an election. It's true that in every election in Nigeria, people complain about rigging. It's also true that democracy relies on a delicate balance of the perception that elections are free and fair, contestation is also free and fair, and that there will be an exchange of power between parties, ideologies, between people. That said, it's not quite right to dismiss those who worry about the integrity of the 2023 elections because there is a context and history too of how elections are won and lost in Nigeria that's actually also very real and very well documented. Now, in the book How to Rig an Election that was published in 2018 by Nick Cheeseman and Brian Klass, they provide many examples from around the world on how elections are rigged, talking about how increasingly people like to use technology as the game changer that will improve the process, make things transparent. But often, despite this expensive investment in election technology, you find that actually it's the opposite that happens. They also talk about how it's important to infiltrate the personnel of election management bodies, and also how, despite a fierce contestation such as what we've seen with the presidential elections February 25th, that it doesn't mean that your process is actually democratic or fair. And so going back to those who point out that Tinubu APC lost key states like Katsina or Kaduna or Kano or Lagos, they're gaslighting us because that doesn't matter. Those who rig can also increasingly rig with sense because after 8 years of an abysmal APC in the federal government, they know themselves that holding on to power requires give and take and requires also for them to not make that perception of the delicate balance that's required to believe in democracy. They themselves don't want to destroy that. They need to keep that. So the real election, now that they've held the presidency, will be to, of course, take the states or keep the states that they're already in. Because thinking ahead to re-election in 2027, it will be easier. The path is easier when you have governors on side. And so that's what we can expect for the gubernatorial elections that have been postponed till March 18th, which brings me to the second thing I want to talk about, that in the excuse for why the election was postponed, already baked into that is what we can see as what was going to happen with the elections. BVAS is not going to work any better than it worked in the February 25th elections. INEC will be able to blame the opposition parties who went to court and delayed them being able to reconfigure BVAS, while there are many people who've pointed out that that's actually nonsense, that the way BVAS is supposed to work with the servers and everything, we shouldn't in the 21st century be talking about reconfiguring BVAS, but that's actually what the situation is, that we've already had this setting for what to expect in terms of how BVAS is going to work on March 18th. So unfortunately, even though we have 18 governors who are not on the ticket, so the 18 seats that are open, we're not going to see a reduction in the desire to stay in power because everybody wants to build on the Emilokan political model of holding a state and using that to, have influence across the country and then launch your bid. So everybody who's leaving wants to hold on to their state, even though we've had many examples of where that doesn't work. And so we can expect the March 18th elections to be violent. Kano has all the markings are going to be really, really violent between NMPP and APC. Already we saw in February 25th, the APC majority leader in the House of Representatives, Dogwa, allegedly murdered members of NMPP. So all eyes should be on Kano, but unfortunately, we already know that regardless of how badly those elections might go or will go, we hope they don't, but when they will go badly, or if they do go badly, INEC will still declare results, as it did in 2019 in Rivers when it was clear that elections didn't happen there. And so speaking about the legitimacy of our elections, it seems every March around International Women's Day, Nigeria always wants to give women a gift. Last year, it was the rejection of the gender affirmative bill. This year, it's the results of the National Assembly elections that see us drop from 8 female senators out of 109 to 3 female senators, each one representing the PDP, the APC, and Labour. In the House of Representatives, the number went up by 1. So instead of 13 from 2015, we now have 14, with 7 new people coming in and 7 old people retaining their seats. Now, International Women's Day, the theme was Digital Innovation and Technology for Gender Equality. And when one looks at how BVAS worked as a double-edged sword, one can only think, is technology really the answer in terms of women's political participation? Be that as it may, maybe we need more women looking at the tech side of how elections results are collated, how they're transmitted. There's still a lot of work that needs to be done, and still, yes, technology is probably going to be what makes things more transparent going forward. That's it on Political News in 5. Have a great week ahead. Stay safe. Bye.